I'm still astonished that some folks, and I felt this, I was testifying in Congress yesterday, some folks seem to really struggle to let go of the status quo.
Astonished. That right there is our Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg, struggling to understand why more Americans aren't as excited as he is about buying a $50,000 electric car. Secretary Pete, though, like his boss Joe Biden, is actually out of touch. This time, of course, though, most of the media is running cover for Secretary Pete. They never told you that he had his driver drop off his bike so it could look like he rode his bike to work. You know, that green energy thing, with the Suburban, of course, in tow. The Washington Post says Pete, in fact, is #1 on the list of people to replace Joe Biden in 2024. No one in the media back in 1992 was running cover for anyone in the Bush administration. And do you remember this? Bush once remarked that he was, quote, amazed by the barcode scanners at grocery stores. But the New York Times version of that story insinuated that he was confused, baffled by something we all use every day. According to the Times, Bush acted like he'd never seen a grocery store scanner before. The AP, though, finally fact-checking that New York Times story from 1992 in 2018 after Bush was dead. Here's what the Times left out of their story. Bush was shown a special scanner with advanced features, including a scale to weigh produce, uncommon back then, and the ability to read barcodes even if they were torn up and jumbled. Oh well, too late. He was already dead, and he lost his second term, of course. So when we hear Secretary Pete say he is astonished that the rest of us who are dealing with the crisis the Biden administration created don't want to do what he, the most pretentious transportation secretary in American history, wants us to do, shouldn't we be the ones who are astonished? Let's talk about this now and welcome in host of the Rubin Report, Dave Rubin, author of Don't Burn This Country. Dave, I know it seems a little easy right now because there's so much evidence here, but Pete Buttigieg disqualified. If he wasn't already disqualified, I know all those pothills he didn't fill in South Bend, Indiana, that's his resume, but they gave him a chance to talk and maybe didn't work out so well.
Well, John, first, let me give you and your producers a little credit there. That little 2-minute intro that you did there was fantastic, and it's something that I try to do on my show often, which is remember back to the way things used to be and remember the way they treat Republicans or conservatives versus the way they treat liberals or Democrats. Because if we don't realize that, they will keep doing it. Now, I think one of the reasons that big tech is always censoring people is a lot of people are starting to realize this ridiculous double standard. But you're right. Look, I refer to him as Gay Pete on my show because the only reason that Buttigieg has the job as transportation secretary is because he happens to be gay. He was not hired because he knows anything about transportation or has any expertise or anything else. He was mayor of South Bend, Indiana, which is a perfectly fine city, but it's a small city, and I guess he had to fill a couple potholes, but has absolutely no expertise, then spent a few months at the beginning of his job on paternity leave after he and his husband had kids, while we were also having a massive supply chain issue. Now he's telling us that the purpose of high gas prices is because he wants people to feel pain, so they will go ahead and get that electric vehicle. And the irony is, John, I have a Tesla. It's a wonderful vehicle. It is truly awesome. Elon Musk has built something that obviously is the future. But I say that knowing that I work very hard, but I have a couple successful businesses. It costs a lot of money. Most people cannot afford that. And they are trying to punish decent, hard-working people for political ends. I mean, think about this trip that you mentioned to the Middle East that Biden just went on. He's refusing to unleash American energy because of climate change or something like that, but he'll go beg the Saudis for their energy. I'm pretty sure we're all on planet Earth, maybe not some of the people in this administration, but the oil, whether you get it over there or you get it over here, still does the same stuff.
Yeah, and we know, too, you converted to electric vehicles and you came out as gay because just for the jokes, right? So you can call him gay now. That's not going to be the only Seinfeld reference I make.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
We're going to get 3 Seinfeld references in with Dave today. But I first want to talk about what you just said, the censorship of conservatives on social media. I mean, this is something we know, but we get more evidence about how bad it is all the time. The Media Research Center found that big tech constantly discriminates against conservatives. Over 144 million social media users were kept from conservatives in the first quarter of 2022 alone. So they're shadow banning folks, Dave. And just for, I don't have a lot of social media followers, but I've been on Truth for like a couple months, and I've already exceeded my Twitter followers on Truth. Yep. And I think a lot of people are sharing their same experiences.
There is something very interesting going on at Truth Social that is not happening on Twitter, which is that it seems to be unmanipulated. I just got on Truth Social about 2 weeks ago because I was banned on Twitter because apparently I called Elliot Page Ellen Page. Ellen Page used to be an actress who is in X-Men. Apparently she's a man now who wasn't in X-Men or something like that. I'm very confused about what happened.
It's confusing.
But I was banned for that. I was also banned last summer when I said that the vaccines aren't working as promised and that federal mandates were coming. I was banned for that back then. Eventually they let me back on. But yes, there are alternatives. I would also welcome people to check out locals.com. They should check out Rumble because the simple truth is we know we're being banned and shadow banned and suspended and all of those things, but it is not the stuff we know of that I'm worried about. It's all of the stuff we do not know that they are doing, how they are showing you certain videos and not showing you other videos, whether they amplify certain political views into your feed and hide other views. We only know a small set of things that we think that they're doing. There is probably a much wider set. And if you think that now, years after we've all been screaming about this, that suddenly Twitter or Facebook or YouTube or Instagram is going to fix any of this, then I got a bridge to Alaska to sell you, because they're not going to fix any of it.
So true.
It's baked in. It's a feature, not a bug.
Right. You have to start at home, and it starts with real conversations and real action, not on social media. That's a good point. Now, of course, I know we're all wishing President Biden the best. We hope he recovers from COVID as quickly as possible. We got to talk about his cancer that he talked about yesterday. He says he got cancer apparently from the coal, the fossil fuel industry. Somehow, the White House has since had to clarify that. They were just talking about non-melanoma skin cancers he had removed before he took office. But no matter what type of cancer it is serious, as we learned from Jerry Seinfeld in this iconic moment.
You call yourself lifesaver? I call you pimple popper, MD.
Dr. Sidley,
Mr. Perry, how are you?
I just want to thank you again for saving my life.
She saved your life?
I had skin cancer.
Skin cancer?
Skin cancer. I, too, have had non-melanoma skin cancers removed from me, Dave. And I hope, again, the president recovers quickly from COVID.
John, first off, I just have to tell you, by far my favorite cable news host. You're doing a fine job.
It's really
over there.
not that hard, Dave. All I got to do is play Seinfeld clips for you and Simpson clips and I make you happy. That's it. It's easy.
I don't ask much, but you're doing a fine job. Look, as far as, let me just talk about the COVID thing for 1 second. Look, he's the pilot of the plane right now, whether you want him to be or not. I wish Joe Biden well. We know he has a series of other physical and mental problems, and they're going to have to deal with that, and it's becoming too hard to hide. But that's separate than I don't wish this guy or anyone else ill. And, of course, the other, just to go to the political part, I mean, the other part is that Kamala Harris then becomes president if he steps aside. So that's one thing. As far as the bumbling on that, they're claiming that he just made a tense problem, that I had cancer. He said I have as opposed to I had. But it just goes to the broader point of that there is so little validity to what he says. There is so little honesty in what he says or understanding when he's saying it that for about 10 minutes online when the president said I have cancer, people were freaking out. And then by 10 minutes passed and everyone was like, it was just Biden being Biden. That is a problem regardless of whether he has COVID, cancer, or excessive flatulence.
Yes, it's a tense problem, just like he didn't say, read the line again. He said, I'm going to repeat, And then they go back and change. They go back and change the transcript to reflect what he said, even though he made it's so bad. And of course, we
Democrat privilege, man. That's the one privilege there is in the United States.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Dave Rubin, we'll see you online. Great to see you, as always.
Good to see you, John.
If you're looking for more honest and thoughtful conversations about politics instead of nonstop yelling, check out our politics playlist. And if you want to watch full interviews on a variety of topics, watch our full episode playlist all right over here. And to get notified of all future videos, be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell.